Pain awareness and additional layers. It's not that I became numb. No, I just feel there is an additional layer that I can observe about myself. It is painful, but it's okay for right now. For me, I'm embracing uncertainty over boredom. Really happy uncertainty is existing in this world, 'cause I cannot imagine how boring it would be if I would already know with certainty where virtues of action vs mind I'm going to be in 20 years. The virtues of action, what does it mean, virtues of action? It is how should you behave in a loyal way, behave in a trustful way, behave in a respectful way, behave in a courageous way. This is the how should you do something. The virtues of mind, for example, they say what is it that nourishes the way for you to put the virtues of action into practice? How can you learn to behave respectfully? Because naturally, if people like insulting you, you don't behave respectfully towards them. So how can you still behave respectfully, still be loyal to people? How do you do it? And this is where it then comes to the virtues of the mind, to really learn, to be patient, to really know what does it mean to be persistent, to persevere during your training. Seeking peace instead of happiness. Are you happy? It's a difficult question. I'm not searching for happiness. I'm searching for peace. So my state of what I'm aiming for, I would say it is peace. Because happiness for me, taken by this word, if there's happiness, there is sadness. If something can rise, something must fall. If you can attain something, there's something to lose. That's why it's difficult. That's why I stop the moment. I don't know what type of happiness you mean, being satisfied with where I'm standing. Yes, does it mean that I don't have hard moments? I have hard moments. And that's why for me, like, what is it I ultimately look for? I would call it as finding peace, and what blocks it? Just peace. Are you at peace more and more? Yes, more and more. This one, yes, more and more. What's in the way of your peace? I would call it karmic relations and family connections, karmic connections that you just think like you cannot avoid them because your mother gave birth to you automatically. Whatever your mother is doing or not doing, however the state of health of your mother is going to affect you in a way. There are sometimes people in this world you have a closer karmic relation towards them. So what they are doing is also going to affect you, and in my case it's the same real life speaking. My son, yes, he is a very strong karmic relation. He's on the one side, my own flesh and blood, together with my beloved, but it also means the way how my son feels. It is affecting me, and this is something that I still need to learn to regulate, which also sometimes means, if you only sleep like 2 hours per night, then it is like this, but you have good training to still maintain your peace afterwards. These are simple things, willpower and infinite possibilities, yes. Ultimately, it's really up to you. How much do you really want it? And it's going to continue like this until you will ultimately come to the point, and it's going to come quickly. I do think where you realize for yourself that it's an infinite direction of possibilities. They will never run out, but you will still have to figure out what is it that you really want from your life. Dealing with misunderstanding from close people, sometimes even such close people don't know who you are, can also happen. Hurts double as much as people saying something about you that don't know you. Now you have people that you thought know you and still they didn't get you. Also very painful. It only leads to one thing. You would have right now the impression of, so what's the only way? Just go your way regardless of what people think. In a way, yes, but have understanding for them and no ill will against them. Be careful, be very aware. Who are you letting into your circle? And ultimately rely on yourself and maintain. You're sorry to say, but it's the heart. Maintain the purity of your Shaolin Kung Fu as walking through pain and tension. Shaolin Kung Fu literally means walking through the valley of pain. What does it mean? When you are doing stretching, it's going to be painful. When you are doing strength training, is going to be painful. When you do conditioning training, it's going to be painful. So the whole pass on this martial art journey, it is just filled with working yourself up to the level of where it feels uncomfortable, getting some consistency into the practice until the point where that uncomfortable feeling just started disappearing. Why? Because somehow you broke that initial comfort zone. So, but then it doesn't end. No, next level until you're building up first of all, yeah. Whatever we're doing later on, I will show you some practices is not that I do not feel pain. I also feel pain, maybe I feel it later, but the essential part is that my connection, my relation between the pain of the body towards what would affect in the way of how I take my decisions, that is a different I feel the pain, but I see no necessity to still change something about my way right. Why? 'Cause I can take the pain, whereas when you are not used to this pain, you feel it, and then it tells you it's painful, the mind, okay, it's not good. So you directly change something, and this is just the difference. So it's not that I became numb, no. I just feel they're observing additional layers of self, is an additional layer that I can observe about myself. It is painful, music, but it's okay for right now. There's only one thing that makes you breaking free from fear and worry, break free from fear, which is to find a way and wake up from the dream. When I look at my worries I had in the last month, for sure 90% of all the worries just didn't happen in the first place. 10% might somehow came true, but then again I ask myself, good, so the 10% that came true, even though I had the worries, what could I do about it? Coming to the conclusion, nothing. And then something just really started to shift inside of me, where I literally let go of something, let go of this idea that everything is like one directional, that everything that you're going to encounter in this lifetime is going to be beautiful. Everything in this lifetime is going to be peaceful. Everybody you're going to meet along your journey is going to be well-hearted towards you. No, it's not, because in the moment where you have well-hearted people, you have ill-willed people. And in the moment where there is success, where you want to be part of the success story, you're going to be part of the failing story. And in the moment where you want to be part of the light story, you're going to be part of the dark story. This is how it is. This is the world of yin and yang, what we call it's the world of yin and yang. This is the world of birth and death, of aging and sickness. I do think it is a blessing being able to just experience. It's a blessing that we have been granted the possibility of simply experiencing what this existence is capable of creating, including everything, including the joy, including the happiness, including the tears, including the heartbreaks. All of this without the separation, whether you prefer one area or not. Sometimes the one goes with the other, but the purpose in a way is just be an experience. The taking existence too seriously only thing that happens, and which is a big part nowadays, is if you take your current existence too serious. If you completely base your identity, your being on what you think you are, it's just a picture right now. Just sometimes make it very simple, jump out of yourself and be the director of this avatar, and then it just opens another perspective, because in that moment you just realize it's like a movie. Not everything is always positive, but in the moment where there are times of struggle, still not being caught inside your own creation, identity, illusion of the self, different expressions for that. It's a very helpful way of thinking. Let's put it like this. I can breaking old patterns through consistency feel how my old patterns sometimes are still trying to sneak in. What to do to break patterns? Number one, you need to see you have one, and number two, you need to replace old patterns, which ultimately mean patterns. It's habitual behavior, it's habits. How do you build habits? By continuous behavioral patterns that you continuously do. So there is something about consistency and continuity that ultimately builds a pattern. Consistency of having a training regimen every day. You know, it's not helpful to like 6 days per week do nothing, and then you go one day to the gym and give your everything. No, it's better you have some type of consistency throughout the whole day. This is what builds patterns, healthy patterns. Yeah, similar like this. What is somebody supposed to do? Number one, look at yourself and see yourself. We are all not perfect, but according to the circumstances that you are facing right now today, what type of character do you think, with what do you want to equip your character, that he is able to go through this current times in the best possible manner? What is not useful for you anymore? Try to get rid of it and get your new skills in. Loneliness. Despite being surrounded, there were times I could simply be surrounded with thousands of people, but still feel lonely. It's not what you're surrounded with, it's with what you are connected. Music, and there I felt like there is always again this type of force. What is it that drives you on? Going outwards, going outwards, going outwards, you lose yourself. Music, but this self is the only thing that can give you connection in this life. Connection to universal source. I do believe that we all have a source. There is a source. Whether you call that source is the universe. Whether you call the source, it is the God. Whether this source is the infinite energy, I don't know. There's so many different expressions to it. But when I look at all these teachings, all are always pointing at one and the same thing. Let's just take the expression of yin and yang, the symbol everybody knows in the world, and there is that nice saying, yin and yang have a mother, the mother sometimes simply being illustrated as one circle. So yin and yang as the expression from duality, polarity, existence of number two. Yeah, where do two come from? They must come from one. So simple, like in our way, you are there, I am here, one, two. Where do we come from? There must be something that we have as a common denominator. And this source is the only thing that can connect us, because it's not your family. It's not my family. They're still different. That is not enough going just looking at we are humans, animals, same. Whatever and whoever gave us the possibility to be here is the same who gave you the permission, is the same who gave me the permission and the blessing. This is the level of mind. This is the level of connection that never leaves you lonely. Truth beyond words and experience, your best friend or your best girl. And going to ask you, so, how was this conversation? And even so that we are maybe just talking 3 hours, 4 hours. Even if you spend 2 days long explaining to your best friend how this conversation was, it's not the truth. It is not the truth. How is this conversation? How is this conversation even right now? We cannot even speak about it. I tell you how this conversation right now really is. Yes, how you want to describe this. Music, you will be the only one ever knowing how this is. It doesn't matter who's going to ask you afterwards what you're going to tell them. You want to feel it, you need to experience it. There is no other way, and this is the nature of words. This is why these ancient stories come. For example, one master and his student walk up on the mountain early in the morning. Then the sun rises up, and then the student says, "Oh, master, what a beautiful sunrise." And then like the master slaps him, and never takes him to a walk any more. Then you say, why was the teacher so hard to him? Because in the moment where you give something that you experience a word, you limit its nature. You naturally limit its nature. How does this now translate into what we can do with this knowledge? Looking beyond limitations, whatever is being dense and it's limiting, I don't think it's the way. I think everything for us to practice is look beyond limitations, look beyond the words, look beyond the shape. Practice to look beyond the superficiality of things, because this is where the meaning lies, or this is where part of the realization lies. Yeah, you don't need to go anywhere. The only thing you need to do is take a moment, contemplate about yourself. Go into yourself and find the answers there, and then decide for yourself which part and what type of contribution would you like to give to the world that you're living in. Diversity, choice, and self-knowledge. I ultimately think this is what I'm doing. I would say it's diversity and choice. This world is filled with so much choice meanwhile that it's difficult in a way to take a decision which direction to go, what is right to do, what is not right to do. But ultimately it's only yourself who knows the answer, which means it comes to the essential point: learn more about yourself. This is where it starts, because if you have the wrong perspective of who you are, what you are, everything else in this lifetime you base your decisions on is just not going to be placed in the right direction. Morning routine and body scanning. I wake up and sit on the sofa, and still I just sit, just being awake, and just breathe, literally, just realizing, slowly scanning my own body from the inside going through the body. So really making sure in a way that everything that's going to come up during this day is being perceived very consciously, by this. So it's like I slowly build up my energies prepared. This is how I would call it. It doesn't look very special looking from the outside unless I wake up and the sun is asking for something, then of course I have my duties to do. But if I can really have my day after waking up still, the next hour is still I spend alone. This is what I prefer to do. And do you do exercise in the morning? Yes, push-ups, sit-ups, and standing practice and energy building practice. What's standing practice? No, partially it's also some of them are like mentioned in the book, but literally it is what it sounds like. I choose one position that I'm standing in and then I hold that position for 15 minutes. Why take all the spiritual part out of this? Because there are some positions that are looking so strange that at some point I also asked myself, how would somebody even invest his lifetime standing and putting yourself through such a position? Well, there must be a reason why in ancient times it is kept as a secret practice to stay like this. The squatting monkey is called. This is a practice that builds up what we call energy. How do you build up energy? It is by giving your mind something where you need to have willpower to maintain it. Willpower and development of energy go hand in hand with each other. The will to live, the will to keep going, the will, strong will, iron will, energy is also very high. And so literally, some of these positions are so demanding on the body that in order to maintain this position, you have to have will. You need to create something about yourself where you are pushing yourself. And this is when we have time I show you the exercise. Willpower and energy development, yes, and this is why I do it. Now, one of the first things is really try as often as you can to remind yourself and put yourself in that proper state of what you think you are. I wake up and try to not already have any type of thought from yesterday in my mind. I try to wake up empty. Also try to, at all moments, immerse myself as much as I can in the present moment. Living in present moment practice, that's what it is. Live in the here and now. How you do this to live in the here and now? Stop jumping into the past and stop jumping into the future. Then you live in the here and now, but you must practice it, and literally meaning how you do it. Make yourself empty, because the only thing that fills your mind with past and future is your thoughts. The mind in the moment where you just on a regular basis put yourself consciously and willingly in different situations and circumstances that actually represent a little bit the structures of life. There are moments in this lifetime where you are going to be super tense. And then it's good to know already how does it feel and what is it that you can do well to learn and release the tension. That's why releasing tension is also a big part of the exercises. The one thing is learning to release tension. The other thing is like when you are too sloppy, when you're too slacky, how to increase your tension, how to increase the energy level again for you to get back into structure again. Is always this balance, and ultimately, how does it help people to learning tension and release the hard stuff? Well, because I do think that it is symbolizing this way of life. It is symbolizing the patterns of what you're going to go through in this lifetime. Why do we have these virtues in the virtues and character building first place? Again, it's like in Star Wars, the Force, what you're learning, the cultivation of energy, the skills that you are learning, these are very, very powerful things. Yeah, but what makes the difference between somebody possessing this power and using it for the sake of humanity, or somebody using it for the not betterment of humanity? It's the character. The power is the same. It's the character, it's the carrier of the power, it's the one who responsible to hold this power, to maintain this power. That one must be trained as well, and this is where the virtues hit in. The virtues are building the framework of the character of the avatar ultimately, that is then receiving all different types of training, skill training, that at least in the Shaolin tradition we would say is good to know them. Why is the mind so important? It mind state upon waking matters. If you wake up in the morning, what are you thinking when you wake up in the morning? And if you already wake up with conflict in the mind, with unsatisfaction inside the mind, wake up with a feeling of lack, I wake up. I have to do something quickly because I don't have it right now. Whatever it is, so running after something. Why do you chase anything? Because you're in a state of lack. Something's missing. If you would have it, why would you chase it? And now the question is, where does this lack come from? And now come back to the child. The child, the incarnated soul, the incarnated spirit. When it comes to the earth, whoever made it possible for that child to come, you can call it God, you can call it the nature, you can call it the universe. No matter what, this force, this power does not make mistakes. God is not putting you in this earth incomplete. Why would he do that? What he's putting on the earth is existence. He's granting us existence. And afterwards, it starts that we have concepts. We start thinking. We start having ideas about how this life is supposed to be. If you're not successful, it's not alive. If you don't have many cars, it's not alive. If you don't have many friends, it's not alive. Well, no, this is all human ideas. You came to the earth right from the coming complete to earth beginning. You have been complete. This is the alternative. At the moment, I would say it's just guiding to rethink. So, what is the next way of what can people do? Rethink your life. Look at how is your life looking at the moment. How did you spend the last 5 years, 10 years? Do you maybe see some rethinking life patterns in your life? I tell you one pattern everybody has. I had it too. We all have it because it's normal. There was a time we didn't even have any mobile phone. Then the first Nokia came out. Okay, eventually you even got one. We're happy about it. Then the next generation of phones came out and this one was okay. It's old already and you wanted the next one. Then you got the iPhone, then you got the MacBook Pro, the big TV screen, then the first car you had a Volkswagen, afterwards you had a BMW, but there is a pattern behind there. Whenever you get what you want, you will realize that's not it. And so the question is, when do you start to realize the pattern, that running after desires is not going to fulfill your desire? Realization vs. desire, fulfillment. What you need is realization. What you need is wake up. This is where all these terms up coming from also to take that misunderstanding away. I grant you the Porsche, I grant you a big house. Yeah, it's all nice and I mean if you can afford it, it's absolutely something. I mean why not? The German technology and possibilities that meanwhile is able to do is pretty awesome. The only thing is ask yourself your satisfaction about life, is it based on a condition or not? Because this is what I would see right now. Everything that at the moment you want to have always when you say, I need this in order to feel complete. I want this in order to feel complete. Then it means your life, your satisfaction about life is based on conditions. As long as conditional vs. unconditional satisfaction, I have many followers, I'm happy. As long as I have a family, I'm happy. As long as I have the car and the big house, I'm happy. The fact is you do not have a guarantee. You do not have a security that at any point in time you're going to lose these things. First of all, latest when the body falls apart, you're going to lose them anyway. But even before that, just look out in the world when we had, for example, the restrictions because of the what can you do as an individual if the government decides finished? No more podcast, no more going out, no more meeting friends. Stay at home, and you had a lifestyle. Every day you go out meeting friends. Every day you drive around. Every day you are outside. But now, because of whatever you are forced to stay in that restriction, what is going to happen to your life satisfaction? The more it was based on the condition of life needs to look like this, the more we will suffer. Many developed depression, and many started waking up, realizing depression and external dependencies. I cannot base my life on circumstances where I don't have influence on, and this is exactly what this life is about. Don't base your life satisfaction on circumstances where you have no influence on. If you have, well, then change them in the way that serve you. But there are many things we don't have to already right now, realizing I cannot, as a small citizen, I have no influence on whatever the politicians are going to throw out there, no way. Then you are realizing your life is in your hands. Your responsibility is make sure that inside you are always full, or that you are feeling full. No matter what happens on the outside, nobody can take something away from you, because the gift that has been given to you is the existence, is this lifetime in the first place. We not outsourcing life power already have been given the greatest gift of everything, existence. Now don't let anybody interfere trying to take that away from you. So that means don't outsource the power of having your life in your own hands. Don't outsource this to external circumstances. Don't outsource it to the amount of messages you receive per day. Don't outsource it to the number of followers. Don't outsource it to how big the apartment is, how many cars you have. If you can afford it, do it. Just don't make that emotional and mental attachment. This is the part. It's not about how many cars you have. You can have a whole garage full with all the luxury cars. That's not the attachment vs possession problem. Problem is how much are you identified with your possessions. The identification is the problem. To have a garage full and just use them and enjoy them, and when you drive and the weather is nice, then it's really nice. But then you put it back into the garage, you go eat your meal, and while you are eating, the car is gone. You're not thinking about a car anymore. It's gone. It's standing in the garage, finished. Now you just enjoy the meal. Attachment is the problem. It is a process. It is of rewiring. How have you lived your life until right now? How much did it serve you, the way of thinking until now, and how much also did it limit you? These are all things every individual has to ask for themselves. I'm not giving you anything right now. I'm just saying something, which is, let's say, my view, and you have to ask yourself, what is it, from what you have heard until right now, that in a way resonates with you? You observe this pattern in your own life, and ultimately the only person who can do something about it. It's not me. You make the decision. Your life is in your hands. Taking away misconceptions, the only thing that I'm doing is, if at all, I'm taking something away. I'm taking away misconceptions and illusions that people might have in this lifetime if they didn't have the possibility to hear other perspectives. Fear and also uncertainty. These two things are the biggest, fear and uncertainty, as life challenges every human being is going to face. The question is, are you living your life based on fear or not? And this fear is not helpful because it restricts you. It restricts your ability to expand the mind. Fear is restricting you to discover, because fear makes you to stay inside the comfort zone. But why do we call something the comfort zone? It's because we have spent time already inside that zone that we know. You know everything about it inside there already. You have seen it. You have experienced all of it. That's why everything has become comfortable to you. So as long as you're comfortable, it means you are not leaving the things that you know. This existence is too big. It's zero. 1% of knowing is 99% of not knowing. If you want to discover what is the 99%, it means you need to leave the space of knowing. You need to leave the space of comfort. You need to go into the uncertainty, and this is that fearful part. The more fearful you are, the more you're going to stay where you are. The less fearful you are, the more you're going to expand, the more you're going to discover. Now the question is, how can I now learn to face your fear? Yeah, to facing fear through practice, face it. And there again, I think the Shaolin practices is one of these ways. So facing pain is also something that goes along the way of practicing the Shaolin martial arts. You don't have to jump right away into the darkness. Not many people can do this, but realizing, okay, this is right now my comfort zone, and tomorrow I'm already trying one thing that is new to me. It still feels uncomfortable to me, but okay, let's try just one step out next day, another step out, meaning integrate the jump into the uncertainty into your lifetime until it becomes a habit. This is the one way how to develop that ability to go against the fear. This is one thing. The second part is, I think this is now very useful for everyone. If you have the wrong image about yourself on this earth, If wrong self-image limiting potential, you are viewing yourself like from a wrong perspective, then it just means you will never get into the understanding what type of potential you are actually possessing. The point is you're becoming more and more refined about, there is much more about us, because in the moment where you realize that back of skin has more on the inside, it also increases right now your ability. If you say health is important to me, well, then it's not enough to just like use cream on your skin. That is taking care outside. If you know there is more inside, then it means whatever you eat, whatever you do, whatever you're drinking, how does it affect what is inside of you? So all these practices, what does it do? It makes you become more refined about yourself. When you look at yourself, when you sense into yourself, you feel more what you are. Take care of the body, refine the body, and at the same time you refine the mind. What is missing in my life? What do you think you still need? Does it really make sense? Imagining you would have already what you are wishing for. How would it change you right now? At the moment, people are chasing, which is not wrong. But now instead of having 100% of only chasing, do 80% chasing and 20% look inside. 80% chasing, 20% looking inside, understanding of okay, you can use the body to get to the mind. Then once you at the mind, what is it that you can actually observe about yourself? What type of questions can you ask yourself? This is then where people realize, oh okay, there are other people in this world. They have grown up differently, and they ask themselves different questions, but we all live the same life. So which way is the right way? The Western approach or the Eastern approach? No, listen to all of them and then individually choose what is working for you and what not. This is exactly the approach how you learn to face the pain. Use the body. So what is the very first thing anybody in the world is supposed to do? If you look at your life and realize that in the last 7 days you are only sitting is not enough, is unbalanced. No matter what it is, that person is going to be unbalanced for sure. So this is why any type of physical activity doesn't need to be Shaolin Kung Fu. Any type of physicality needs to be inside the way of life of a normal human being. So sport is already physical activity as foundation, good, ultimately meaning take care of the body, because there is a nice saying, as long as your body is healthy, you have thousands of problems, but in the moment your body gets sick, you have one problem. That's why I mean first of all, before tackling everything, yes, so how to build up your life, and how to whatever do, make sure your body stays healthy. If the body is not healthy, you don't need to worry about anything else, so respect, take care and love your body. Nourish your body, nourish yourself in such a way that you understand it's something right now very, very precious to have. This is number one. There is a difference probably what type of sport you are doing. The question is inside your organs, everything inside. How much tension do you carry there? This is also a way what is happening in all of these martial art practices, meaning you martial arts for body, mind refinement, become more fine than even about your body. And the more fine you become about the body, the more access you have to it, and because you become so fine, the mind becomes so fine, it becomes more subtle to the changes that are happening inside our lifetime. And then what do you do with that ability of you sense the subtle changes? It is like you have a way better possibility right now to really fine-tune your life. That frequency doesn't sound right. A little now is okay. Yeah, so it has something to do with how fine are you to adjust your life. Yeah, it's like you're a busy man, you have a hobby, you have a profession, you have the podcast, maybe you have a girlfriend, maybe you have children. The more you have, the more aware you need to become. How do all of these areas actually interfere to your overall feeling? And if one of these things like needs more attention, you need to be able to sense this. If another is too much, then you need to take a little bit. So it's always a type of balancing. The more areas in life you have, the more detailed, the more fine you have to become to balance all of this out. You spend too much with podcast and with work, with your hobbies, well, your relationship won't be happy. It's just going to be like this. But you give all energy only into the relationship, well, you're going to be unhappy because all the other things that are also important to you don't have enough energy. So, it's a very fine line sometimes to really figure out how to adjust. And that means to be able to really sense the presence of the other sensing energy beyond appearances person. Which means just because somebody talks to you and smiles in your face doesn't mean the energy is right. When I say energy, yeah, it's sometimes strange to people. They say, oh, it's esoteric. What do you mean by energy? But it's very simple. People can laugh in your face, but you feel is not real. People can just sit there and you can feel their suffering. People can sit there and pretend to smile, but you can feel they are angry. Beyond what we see obviously, there is another area that gives you more and more real actually information than the obvious what you think you see. Smiling doesn't mean friendly, what energy is behind there, and this also means the refinement of you sensing also things, healthy body first, then you integrate the practices more into your daily life. And this refinement, like I said in the Shaolin arts, also like in the Tai Chi systems, there you have a lot of this type of what I call refining the body. You refine the body automatically, you are refining the mind. And this is where nowadays I think it's such a great help actually, that it just looks like a martial art. It just looks like you do sport, yeah. But with the right mindset in the combination of what you are doing, and what mindset you have is a very, very powerful tool to combine two things, body and mind, in the same practice. Body and balancing internal and external work mind, and translate it into your inside world together with the outside world. At the moment people are chasing, which is not wrong, but now instead of having 100% of only chasing, do 80% chasing and 20% look inside. Adjust what? Look, if you cannot face yourself 100%, face yourself 20%. When you are comfortable with 20% looking inside, move it up. 50% you do internal work about yourself, about your mindset, about your feelings, about your expectations, about the perspectives, how you're looking into the world. And 50% you invest in building something up on the outside. Now we're already at 50/50, and from there on your decision, how you continue. Some people go 100% inside, and outside do nothing anymore. But for me personally also not the way how I am at the moment working. This is the reason why I also accepted in a way to come to this podcast, because I just think this is a very, very good way to get this type of knowledge out. So I regard this also as my contribution in a way with all the practices that I had before to now. I think there is something that can help people just by listening to it. That's why I do it. But on the other side, when podcast and all the events are finished, then I'm by myself all alone. I'm very happy to be alone. I have no problem with that at all, and then go into my internal practices, refine myself, and actually working on myself. So working on yourself on the one side, and then with everything that you have discovered, give it out, do something, contribute to this globe. Contribute something in this earth. This is my balance that makes me feel very, very comfortable finding life's missing elements, training, also really sensing inside, where are the gaps, just really sitting there, and asking myself, what is the reason at the moment I don't enjoy this life? What is missing? What's the reason right now? You to be unhappy about this life, simple question like this. If you don't ask this question, the answers most probably cannot come. What is missing in my life? What do you think you still need? Does it really make sense? Imagining you would have already what you are wishing for. How would it change you right now? Let's put it simple like this. Outside I have at the moment, maybe I have my Porsche standing. Now just imagine instead of the Porsche outside this time is a Bugatti standing. How does it change you sitting here? Nothing, yeah. Only when you sit inside then there is a difference. But for right now, there are many things on the outside, they don't matter. What present moment vs past/future projections matters is how do you feel right now. This is what matters. There is something simple about it. The problem many times in nowadays world is that you are not here. You cannot just be alone with yourself. Either you're drifting off into the past about what everything went wrong in the past, or you're drifting off into what you still want to see and have in the future. So this projection either into the future or the memories into the past. Both of these things is what makes you suffer. We can sit right now over here and think about what happened last week, and then maybe it makes us angry, or we can sit right now here and we look into next week. Oh no, financial department's going to come, yeah, and also makes you suffer again. But right now there is no reason to suffer. I don't suffer. The mind is something very, very powerful, is something very intelligent. It is something very, very powerful, because it is so powerful. It is also that element about you which can make you suffer a lot, or which can make you flourish also a lot. It's the same mind that created the atom bomb, and it is the same mind that created all the technological developments that we have nowadays. So we can create something with the mind, or we can destroy something with the mind. We can use the mind to benefit our well-being, but we can also use the mind to destroy our well-being. So the question is, how do you use the mind in mind as creator or destroyer the proper way? This is like one question, and how to make better use of the mind or better use of the presence. This is the point where now it comes to all different types of practices that are existing in this world, like focus on the breath, do your internal work, focus on the movement, focus on the sound, everything that brings you into the present. This one doesn't happen in the past. Breath as present moment anchor, yeah. There's nothing more real. There's nothing more direct, nothing more present than something like this to remind yourself to identify. Okay, I'm drifting off right now, come back, because also when you do breathing methods, when I inhale and let's say I feel this stream of air that goes in, so in the moment where your mind is locked on the breath, you follow the line as good as you can. This can only happen in the present. You cannot feel the breath of the past. There is no breath of the past. There is no inhalation of the future. Whatever you are sensing when you follow the stream of the breath, it's the present. The breath never happens in the past, and it never happens in the future. It's that direct experience. So that means it doesn't matter eventually what is it that you are, let's say, locking your mind on, as long as it is something that happens in the present. And this is where all these exercises are coming in. When I talk with you right now, I know presence practice in daily activities what I talk when I'm eating. I feel the sense of the food. When I'm sleeping, I'm really trying to enjoy the sense of body is resting, mind is resting. This is how sleep feels. Yeah. When I'm at a concert listening to something, these are all type of practices. When I walk out in the street and the sun is shining on my face and the people are sitting there at the coffee and you hear they talking, but I walk and I feel, I sense this is the sunshine. This is the people talking. My feet are moving. I'm here. I know what I do. I know what I'm surrounded with. Being just very present, being very aware.